Hey, everybody. Super excited for this chat today with Anil Matthews, CEO at Near Intelligence. Anil, how are you?
Good, good. Glad to be on the show.
I'm super excited to have you here. We're going to learn a little bit about what Near Intelligence does and your customers and your approach to big data, huge data. But before all
Yes.
that, maybe introduce yourself. And for those who don't know Near, what does Near Intelligence do exactly?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm Anil Matthews, the founder and CEO of Near. We started Near almost a decade back. And what we have done over the last 10 odd years is created this platform that uses massive amounts of data to understand consumer behavior. And we do so in both worlds, in the physical world and the digital world. And I'll explain in a bit, what that means. But this is used by enterprises and data owners to understand their own consumers better. That's what we do.
And there's so much to it there. We're going to peel back the layers a little bit. But before that,
Yes.
you mentioned 10-year journey,
Yes.
becoming a public company earlier this year. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tell us about that journey. What was it like going from an early stage startup to a public company, and how's it going? I guess for the
Yeah, I
viewer.
think I think I think the journey has been always been very interesting, right? So 10 years of our life as a private company was something that I would do 10 times over. And as we moved to become a public company, there was a lot of things that we needed to get ready towards. So there was a lot of prep work, right? And one thing I can tell for other entrepreneurs who's looking at similar journey is that you always have to probably add more time and energy and money than you would originally budget for to go public. But being public brings the most important thing that you would desire as a company, which is credibility. And
Mhm.
and that I think is something that, of course, the reason we went public was to get access to credibility, but also get access to currency that we could use to grow from here. So the next decade of our life would be as a public company, and that was a plan. So yeah, I think it's great. The market is not ideal, but I think it was uh, a plan that if we enter at this juncture of the market, it's only up from here, and that's hopefully, fingers crossed, working in our favor.
Fantastic. Well, let's dive right in. Let's talk first about customers. So, how does it help customers make better business decisions, strategic decisions? It's all about data, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me give you some context so you can understand this better. So if you
Mhm.
look at what we're sitting on is a platform, we call it the data intelligence platform, which consists of massive amounts of consumer behavior in a privacy compliant way.
Mhm.
And the data today we have is on around 1.6 billion monthly active user IDs across 70 million places and 44 countries. So we're looking at
Wow.
consumer behavior in these places. So it's massive data, billions and billions of pings on a daily basis, right? What this platform is doing is looking at this data in time and space. So looking at how people are interacting with places they visit and devices they're connected to. There are three core pillars of our offering. One is the data itself that I described. Second is privacy. And third is the AI aspect of it, what intelligence we are able to derive out of this. These three core pillars come together um, and has helped us create two offshoots from this platform, which is two different products. One product is looking at all this data from the lens of people, and the other product is looking at all this data from the lens of places. Both are
Mhm.
slightly different. So we work with retailers, large retailers, restaurant chains, commercial real estate companies, tourism organizations, media companies who wants to use this data primarily to understand a little bit more about their consumers are their competitors' consumers better? So as an example, if there's a retailer say, hey, I know ABC about my customers because when they walk in, I have cameras and sensors and I have POS data and CRM data, so I know that. My biggest challenge as a retailer is I have no idea when they walk out of the door what happens. And that's when it comes into picture. We say, okay, we can now give you in a privacy compliant aggregated way insights into your consumers that when they walk out of the door, they went X times to competitors. They basically are spending more time buying this kind of brand versus this brand. This is where their brand affinity is towards. This is probably where they spend more time for holidays, and this is where they spend time, eating foods. Because if you look back, one of the things that happened during the pandemic is consumer behavior went to a toss. So all this understanding that every enterprise had about their consumers completely changed. The way you shop, the way you eat, the way you travel, holidays, everything has changed. Now they need to relearn this. This relearning cannot happen without data. So today, there's so much reliance on this data because there's no other way to go forward. And that's where Nia comes in. Most of our customers, are sitting on their own data, but there are customers who basically just need to use our data as universe and look at consumer behavior. Either way, they subscribe to our product, which is an annual subscription, and then of course they continue that. So they see repeat value in this because consumer behavior is changing every day. I mean, almost there's a change, that's happening that they need to monitor.
Amazing. So let's talk about the business and data intelligence market space. When you think of this landscape, you think of big tech companies dominating this, but actually you seem to be on the poise of becoming the leader in data intelligence. How is that, not being Google or Amazon or Facebook?
That's true. The biggest difference is there are these behemoths who's also sitting on huge amounts of data and understand consumer, but that's a walled garden. So as a retailer, as an example I gave you, when you want to work with walled gardens, you're typically giving a lot of information out to them. It's a black box. They do whatever, and they say this is the output. We are actually empowering these retailers, restaurant chains, media companies, to almost become more competitive in the market by deriving value out of the data that they're sitting on. So, like I mentioned, you have certain understanding about your consumers, but we can help you with the additional missing pieces in your consumer journey. And so now you're sitting on your own data lake, which becomes more powerful, and you are in control of it. That's one big difference. Second, even if you don't look at behemoths, the challenge is to solve something like this at a global level. It's not a trivial task. We were fortunate enough to be born in the eastern part of the world. We are Singapore headquartered, and then we moved westwards. So we moved our headquarters, only in 2021 to basically be ready to go public and all those things. But that allowed us to grow our business from the region where data was not even available. So it's not like you can throw money and access data. So you need to basically look at how do you garner this data, how do you derive intelligence based on models that is very specific to local regions, because Southeast Asia is not one country. There's multiple countries and different setup in each of these countries. So we understand that really well, and that allowed us to create a really global platform, which also is a big differentiator for us.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about how you stay ahead of the curve as far as innovation goes. That's easier when you're a small, nimble startup. It gets harder as you grow. What are some of your best practices or tactics to drive innovation?
True. So one of the things is that what we have always done is we have taken privacy very seriously. So because we are dealing with so much data, and especially consumer data. So you're looking at, and if you look at that at the global level, it's way too complex because there's different laws and different regulations in different parts of the world. There's the most stringent one, which is GDPR. So basically, you have to figure out how do you be compliant there and still service your customers. And there is regions like California, which has CCPA and other regulations that's coming up in the US, while as there are countries like Australia and Japan which are coming up their own regulations. So that's why when I touched upon our pillars, it was very important that of our core pillars, one has to be privacy, where we are always looking at aggregated anonymized data, which is consent based, right? So to build something like this, which means you're constantly creating models that is intelligent enough to derive the meaningful insights that customers can use without sacrificing privacy. And this has been always a challenge. So that is something that we are proud of on how we are addressing that.
Fantastic. One of my favorite events of the year is the NRF show, the big retail show in New York City.
Yes.
And I always look forward to trends and opportunities there.
We have been participating in that year on year. So love to catch up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I always look, it's constant discussion, e-commerce online versus offline and retail. Yeah. And what trends are you seeing in the space currently?
A lot of talk about generative AI, right? I mean, so that's what is happening. What are you doing with generative AI, and how that's going to impact your industry? Because that's a question every CEO needs to answer. And what I'm really excited about is the fodder for generative AI is high quality data. Because without that, there's no generative AI, there's no modeling, right? There's nothing coming out. It's garbage in, garbage out. And what I'm really excited about, like I was touching upon, is we are sitting on huge amounts of data. And that is a gold mine, especially for generative AI. So we are doing a lot of work around that to see how we can actually implement generative AI in everything that goes out of our table, and how we can actually help customers more with it.
Any insights or ideas on how generative AI can be used based on your data? You must be in early experiments and trials around
absolutely
and business opportunities.
Correct. There are a few basic things, right? For example, any data you look at, there is a lot of noise, and so how do you remove the noise efficiently without actually killing actual real data out there? So that's something that is, that's a massive task, especially the task becomes more complex when the data is at that scale. So that's one thing. Second is we always have estimations that we are doing behind the scene, because when we are providing you insights, we are estimating a lot because we might have only a small ground truth to work on. And then we are estimating a lot more on that. So estimations become more powerful, more accurate. But the biggest piece is, as privacy safeguards come in, and as quality data becomes more and more scarce, there's always missing dots in a consumer journey. Generative AI allows you to fill in those missing dots, which again, then it's fully privacy safe because it's created by generative AI. But then at the same time, it's able to give you really meaningful insights that our customers are looking for. So that's something that is that is in the works. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, can't wait to see this space evolve. What's next for Near? Anything interesting, exciting coming up as the summer slowly winds down?
Yeah, I think there are a few interesting things that you will hear from us. That's the challenge of being a public company, that there's only so much I can share. But definitely, you would hear some interesting things coming up from our sleeves in the following quarter.
What about you? I know you're traveling right now. Any vacation? Any interesting personal travel on the horizon as the summer comes to a close?
I think I already did my summer, and so that is beautiful. We do have multiple offices, so as of now, I spend a lot of time in between Asia and the US. And as of now, I'm in Asia, and we'll be traveling back shortly to the US, where our headquarters is. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for spending your time here.
Pleasure.
Thanks for the insight around this, your amazing work. And thanks to viewers. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to reach out on Twitter, X, and LinkedIn with any comments or questions. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.